This week we're going to be talking about mean, median, and mode, and these are also called measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency. A lot of the times we have a good bit of data and we try to find a number to represent that data. Sometimes it'll be the mean, sometimes it'll be the median, and sometimes it'll be the mode. So let's talk about each one of these in turn and then we'll do some examples. The mean is equal to the sum of the terms in the data set divided by the number of terms in the data set. Well, what in the heck does that mean? Basically, in other words, we're going to add up a bunch of numbers and divide by the number we have. So, for example, on your grade, if you have 3 quiz grades, a 75, an 80, and an 85, if I wanted to find the average or the mean of those, I would add them up and divide by 3. The median is the middle number in a data set. And we'll talk more about this in just a second, but it's basically the middle number. If you've got again, going back to our situation, 75, an 80, and an 85, the middle number there would be an 80. Now sometimes you don't have a true middle number. Sometimes you'll have 4, an even number, and there is no true middle number, so we would have to take the 2 middle numbers and average those, add them up and divide by 2. The mode is basically the number that occurs the most. If you've got a large data set, maybe 100 numbers, and you're trying to find the average of those, or not the average, but the mode, you would simply look for the number that occurs the most. Now sometimes there is no mode. Sometimes there's just one, and oftentimes there's more than one. Sometimes, in a data set of 100, you might have several numbers that have that appear 7 times. You might have 3 numbers that appear 7 times, and that's the mode. It's okay to have more than one mode. And measure of central tendency is either the mean, median, or mode. Usually one of these numbers best represents a data set. For example, sometimes the mean may not represent the data set very well, so we look at the mode or median. Or we might look at the median instead of the mode, or so on and so forth. A prime example of that is this. Let's say we have 4 tests, and on one of those tests you make a 99. On another test you make a 98. And another test, let's say you really knock it out and you make 100. But then on the 4th test, you make like a 30. Well, if I add all those up and get the mean and average them, it's going to be artificially low because we have what's called an outlier in that 30 number. So our average is going to be somewhere around a 70, maybe 79, 78. Well, that number doesn't best, in my opinion, doesn't best represent your test scores. What might be best for us to use is the median, the number in the middle, or the mode, which occurs the most. And it depends on the data set which one best measures the measure of central tendency. Here we also have what's called a dot plot, and the example below is right here. And what this does, I've got 2 placed here. You've got basically a number line, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. And then B, you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. All this does is measures how many of these data sets, or this data is here. So for example, 5, how many do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5s. And here we've got, a bunch more 25s and 40s. We only have a few 50s. We've got 2. We've got 3 45s and so on. We've got 3 15s. This is a dot plot, excuse me. And here we have the same thing. Here we have no 2s. We have 2 4s, 3 6s, and so on. And that basically helps us, it gives us a better, what we call a visual representation of the data. It really helps us out a lot. And it really helps speed up some of what we're doing. So for example, using plot A, what is the mode? Well, which one of those occurs the most? It looks like 40 and 25. Well, Mr. Camp, there's 2 of those. What do I do? Do I add those up and divide by 2? No, you do not. It is possible, like I said before, to have 2 modes. It's possible to have 10 modes. All right, these numbers occur the most, so this is the mode. Using plot B, what is the mean, median, and the mode? All right, well, we're going to have to take a little bit of time to find the median. And I'm going to show you how you do that. Or sorry, the mean, excuse me. First of all, I'm going to write up here. Well, I'll go ahead and write down here and then I'll erase it. What is the mean? The way we find that is we add up all all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers there are. We divide by the number in the data set. So let's go ahead and find how many we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We're going to have 23 on bottom. On top, we're going to add up. And I'll write it up here. 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 12 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 and plus 20. And I'm going to add this up very quickly on my calculator here. And then I'll double check it again. Now most of the ones I give you aren't going to be this long. But we have 4 I got 268. I'm going to double check my math here, so bear with me. And I get 268 again. And I simply divide that by 23. 268 divided by 23. Here we've got 1, 23, remainder of 3, 8, and this will go in here once. And I got 23 down here with a remainder of, what is that, 15? Bring down my 0, forgive my artwork. This will go in here. So we can round that if you want to 11.6. Most of the ones I'm going to give you are going to end up in either like a 0.5, a 0.25, or just an even number. So that's what our mean is. We add them all up and divide by the number we have. It's very simple. And again, most of them I'm going to give you aren't going to be this large. Okay. Now, how about the mode? Which one of those numbers occurs the most? It's simply 8. Now, if I give you a data set that's written out like this, not in a data dot plot, you're going to have to order those in. Well, we just lost power. In order from greatest to least. Okay? And when the power comes back on, we'll finish the video.